fights with you so much.
You've known this child since she was born. You did admit that in court.
But he is a grown man.
You're all day for this.
I'm sorry for keeping all of this away from you and having to come out like this.
Something has finally made
She don't
him
need a father.
speechless.
Instead of me assuming it.
knew. You just said you knew.
Up at parties, having a ball, turned up, and now you turned out by yourself.
I hope you're ready to be left in shock because this case will most definitely leave you in shock. Mr. Elliott believed he wasn't the father of their 10-month-old son. Why? The child was named after a different man. It's gonna be one hell of a paternity drama. Let's dive right into it.
Mr. Elliott, you say you do not believe you are the father of Ms. Hall's son because at the time he was conceived, Ms. Hall was in a relationship with another man and later gave her child his last name.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Ms. Hall, you admit you have no idea who fathered your son.
Yes, ma'am.
You acknowledge you slept with another man, but say that was only because you were confused and didn't know who you wanted to be with at the time.
You could see in both of their eyes that they didn't trust each other at all. Mr. Elliott wasted no time in detailing his doubts about why the child wasn't his. He claimed that anytime he and Miss Hall got into an argument, she would always go back to her ex. Things are about to get really tricky here, guys. I hope your eyes are locked in.
After we'd get into an argument and fight, she'd go back to his house every time.
Only because you would make me go back to his house.
No, I wouldn't make you go back anywhere.
Make you go back to his house?
How can I make anybody do something they don't want to do?
What do you mean by that, Ms. Hall?
Your Honor, when somebody fights with you so much to the point where you just have to.
I mean, we'd sit there and argue. She'd pick arguments about stuff. We'd argue, and it seemed like she'd argue just so she could leave to go back to his house.
Little by little, the bomb started to explode in the courtroom. Of course, Mr. Elliott would get mad whenever she went back to her ex. But did Miss Hall really care about his feelings? You can bet she didn't. She even said she enjoyed going back to her ex. Damn, that definitely hurts if you ask me.
Were you intimate with him when you went back?
Sometimes yes, Your Honor, and sometimes no.
So let me get to this period of conception when Noah was conceived.
She got pregnant, okay?
Okay.
And we decided we was going to be together after they split up, and we broke up, and she went back to live at his house again.
All right, so you back at the ex's house again.
Yes.
Now the cracks in their relationship started to show, and Mr. Elliott was taking a lot of arrows to his heart. Miss Hall claimed that he knew the kind of person she was from the beginning. So why is he acting surprised that she cheated? Trust me, I'm as speechless as you are right now.
Tell me, what do you mean by that?
Well, I was with him and the other guy. He knew that before he even started a relationship with me.
Is that true, Mr. Elliott? Were you aware of it?
Yes, I was aware of it, but when we started talking and everything, and after she broke up with him, then we decided, she said she had feelings for me. I told her I had feelings for her. Say, we started a relationship, so I thought she started a new commitment with me. She wouldn't do what she'd done before with him.
It was turning into a charade of deceit and lies. Miss Hall sure wasn't playing nice in their relationship. She claimed she loved Mr. Elliott and her ex at the same time. How's that even possible? To make things worse, Mr. Elliott didn't even know she had a kid. Trust me, it's crazy on all levels.
So you say you love him, and you also love your ex, right?
Not as much as I do Max.
Okay.
When she had the baby, I didn't even know she had the baby. I wasn't even allowed to come up there to see it. I wanted to be there.
Wait
a minute.
I wanted to be at the hospital when he was born. I
You
wasn't
weren't
allowed.
allowed to come
I'm
up
sorry,
there?
if he could find a ride himself, Your Honor, he could have came up there. That's his fault.
No.
Now, when Miss Hall found out she was pregnant, she didn't tell Mr. Elliott about that. Guess what she did? She made her ex believe he was the father of the child, all because he had money. I mean, I really feel sad for Mr. Elliott right now. That's just heartbreaking.
That time when you were at the hospital, had you made your ex believe this was his son?
Yes, Your Honor, I did. He gave me the comfort, the love, or the financial stability that I needed for me and my kid.
And so at what point did you then decide that Noah was Max's son?
I slept with both of them in the same week. Monday I slept with one, and then Friday I slept with another.
Say about 3 months
So,
into the pregnancy, she
I
broke
was
up.
confused. I didn't know who the father was.
Miss Hall was an unbelievable woman. She had no idea who the biological father of the child was. All she knew was that the baby looked like Mr. Elliott a lot more than he looked like her ex. Some ladies just take things too damn far. I mean, how do you know who the real father is?
You have the date you slept with your ex.
Yes, Your Honor.
Circled in blue would be the estimated time of conception.
Yes, Your Honor, but no was also a month early, so it also made me really confused about if Mr. Elliott was or if the other man was his dad. I think the baby looks like Mr. Elliott a lot more than I do the other guy because he has the forehead. Look at him.
I guess it's high time we brought this paternity war zone to a close. Will it be all nice, Mr. Elliott, knowing it's his child? Or would it be the ex-boyfriend who Miss Hall always ran to? The answer to that question sits like a princess in the envelope. Let the truth be told.
Mr. Elliott, you are not Noah's father.
Really don't know what to say right now, except no matter what, I want to be in his life, and I hope she still lets me be the father I've been to him already.
No matter what, you'll always be the father to him, and I'm willing to do anything and everything to show you that.
I really hope you are, because you know that boy is my life.
This was just all shades of mind-blowing. Miss Fisher grew up as a child with 2 different dads playing the father figure in her life. As if that wasn't bad enough, her mother has no idea who the real father is. It's a burst of emotions, and I hope you're ready for all the juice.
Miss Fisher, you say your mother, Ms. Johnson, raised you not knowing which of 2 men is your biological father. Today, you are hoping to finally get that answer because both men have been tested and we will meet them shortly. Now, Ms. Johnson, you argue that you've always had doubts about your daughter's paternity, but since both potential fathers have taken part in her life,
Miss Fisher has been in a loop about who is my real daddy all her life. You can guess who caused all of that. Her mother, of course. She felt one man was her dad, and when she turned 10, she found out another man could possibly be her father. Miss Johnson sure has a lot of explaining to do.
tell me a little bit about this.
I've been grown up thinking that one man was my father, but at the age of 10, I find out it could possibly be somebody else.
So you grew up believing that Calvin was your father, and that's Mr. Triplett.
Yes,
And he'll be joining us in a moment.
yes. And then
Keep going.
at 10 years old, John comes around and
And that's Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
While Miss Fisher was in 3rd grade, she found out the most shocking thing. Her name was changed and she had no damn idea who did it. When she asked her mom, she couldn't give her a direct answer. If I were in her shoes, I'd be furious as hell.
He went down there and got my last name changed. And here you go.
Hold on. That's evidence?
Yes, he went down there and got my last name changed. My
Well, let
last
me
name
see
was
that.
Brooks. He changed it to Fisher. And this, she said she didn't know, but
Well,
she
I
had
knew
to be
he-
there.
Well, I
in
was
order-
there to get the name changed. Exactly. This is how it all came
So
about.
this is your birth certificate. It originally had one man's name, and
Exactly.
now it's been changed to Fisher.
It was time to ask Miss Johnson what really happened and where all the mix-up came from. What did she do? She gave a long-ass story about how one man was there at the time and how the other was nowhere to be found. It just keeps getting worse. Even the judge is amazed by what she's hearing.
You decided it was Mr. Fisher.
Yeah.
Why did you tell everyone that Mr. Triplett was your daughter's father for 10 years?
He was there. Okay, at the time. Listen, I never told John and I never told Calvin. I never told John and I never told Calvin.
So you telling me that this man is just raising this little girl, but you've never told him this is your child?
Exactly.
Mr. Fisher, who happens to be one of the dads, walks into the courtroom. The moment he opens his mouth, all eyes in the courtroom go straight to Miss Johnson with so much shock. He had quite a lot to say about why he wasn't in Miss Fisher's life for the first 10 years.
Now, Mr. Fisher,
Yes, ma'am.
you now contend that this beautiful young lady, Miss Fisher, is your daughter.
Yes.
But for the first 10 years of her life, you weren't there.
I was there, but I wasn't there to walk her through her way as a young woman, well, as a child to a young woman. From that time she was born, she's 10, but I have always been in her life as far as that part, and I was always contributing money to her mom.
Heads were about to roll in the courtroom because the stories being told in the courtroom were nothing short of surprising. Miss Johnson had never been the truthful kind of woman from the beginning. I mean, she didn't tell Mr. Fisher that the kid was his, adding more spice to the already complicated situation. She allowed him to take care of the baby. Who does that?
You just told the court that you always thought it was his baby. Why didn't you tell him?
I just kind of beat around the bush and I just did. And that was my chance. And I had a lot of chances to tell
Okay,
him at that time.
all right. Bottom line is, when she comes by in the van with the baby, you say to yourself, this could be my child, but since she didn't say anything definitive to me, you just didn't say anything at all and walked away.
Yes, I did.
Apparently, Miss Johnson had been feeding Mr. Triplett, who happened to be the second baby daddy in the picture, some crazy lies. She told him he was the father of Miss Fisher for the first 10 years after her birth. I guess we know who the problem here is now, don't we?
We've been trying to understand this issue surrounding Kina, Miss Fisher's paternity, and what we've come to understand is that for the entire first 10 years of her life, she thought you were her father.
That's correct. I did too.
Did Ms. Johnson ever explicitly say to you, this is your child?
Yes, she did. Actually, we were living together for 7 years.
Well, the moment we've all been waiting for is here, and the truth is about to be revealed, people. It's been one tricky ride here, but all that suspense is about to be over. I hope you guys are ready, because I am.
When it comes to the paternity of 26-year-old Kina Fisher, it has been determined that her father is Mr. Triplett.
I still love you, baby. Don't nothing change, Calvin. You've been
Mr.
family this
Triplett?
long, man.
Yes.
Are you happy today? You said that you wanted her to be your daughter.
Yes, I always thought.
Do you think you've heard the most shocking thing ever? Well, I'm here to tell you that you haven't. Miss Prowl found herself in one of the most insane situations anyone can ever find themselves in. Does she get out of it? Well, let's find out.
Ms. Prowl, now you're asking the court to award you $475 in back child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Should one of 3 men be identified as your baby's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your 6-week-old baby has 3 potential fathers,
Yes, Your Honor.
including the defendant, Mr. Morton.
Yes, Your Honor.
This was just beyond unbelievable. Trust me, Miss Prowl happened to be intimate with not just one coworker, but with 3 different coworkers at the same time. Well, Miss Prowl sure seems to be a busy woman, if you ask me.
Mr. Morton, you say that the endless list of men Ms. Prowl has slept with has led you all here to paternity court. You believe it'll be proven today that you are not her baby's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
What upsets you most about this situation?
Well, in this situation, I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world, I've come to find out that she's slept around with one guy, then another guy.
Now Miss Prowl and Mr. Morton happen to find themselves in a beautiful relationship, or so they claim. Then things start to take a nosedive, and she finds out that her baby daddy is fooling around with another girl on Twitter. Does the relationship go on from there? I'm sure you know the answer to that.
Ms. Prowl, you started a relationship with Mr. Morton.
Yes.
And it's going pretty well?
Yes, the relationship was going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman.
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account, he's talking to a young lady saying these things that I can't say in court.
Sexual things.
Yes.
It turns into a charade of 2 disloyal lovers. Both of them start to play the blame game, saying they both cheated on each other first. While Mr. Morton is talking to one of his co-workers at work, he hears the most shocking news about his girlfriend. Trust me, your jaws are gonna drop.
He asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowl? Now, I told him yes. We had a little thing going on at the time. It wasn't very, very serious. Well, he was like, well, I
But
hope
you're
you
listening
don't.
to other people, though. You're listening
I
to other
hope
people.
you don't get too serious with her
He doesn't,
because
Your Honor,
I have already
He doesn't even know
slept
this
with
person.
her.
He doesn't. Someone else just comes up to him, and I'm not going to lie, it is true, but what if he would have said some other things?
Oh, Miss Prowl sure knew how to fool around with the men. Apparently, while she was with Mr. Morton, she was getting with another guy. When she was asked why she did it, her reply was nothing but hilarious. Trust me.
Tell me, Ms. Prowl, a little bit about your relationship with Mr. Gaddis.
Well, Your Honor, there's really no relationship. We met at a party. I was drinking hard liquor. We were talking, just chit-chatting, nothing serious, and we went in the back and had sex, of course.
The conversation about the third coworker pops up in the courtroom, and Miss Prowl is in the hot seat again. She openly told the court that she got intimate with him to make Mr. Morton jealous. Why? She found out he was also cheating. Well, that's not surprising.
So I said, okay, you didn't put a ring on my finger. You want to go talk to other people? Fine, I can do the same thing. So that's what I did, and I do feel terrible about the decisions I made because 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Right?
It doesn't make it
You
right for me to go
recognize
do it.
that this is 3 wrongs, though.
Yes, Your Honor.
The courtroom goes up in flames when Mr. Lowry, one of the co-workers, comes in to give his side of the story. Apparently, he never knew Miss Prowell was pregnant. She claimed she didn't want him to be the father of her child, which is why she never told him. Wait, what? Do you really get to pick who plays the role? She's delusional. Trust me.
So you were sleeping with 3 co-workers from the sandwich shop.
Yes, Your Honor.
You contacted 2 of them to say you were pregnant, but you never contacted him.
Yes, Your Honor. But I do not want him to be my child's father.
Well, you can't control that, can you?
Possibly
You
could
act
be
like
the
you can pick.
father.
No one is talking to you.
Wow. I didn't know you could pick.
Let me make something clear.
The courtroom was buzzing with anticipation, and these guys seemed to be only good at one thing, bickering with each other. The judge, sensing potential future drama, wrapped up the case and went straight for the results.
The father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful. And can I say a couple of things to these gentlemen?
Yes.
I do apologize for, I'm guessing you did want to know. I do apologize. I do apologize to you for cheating on you. If you want to be here with me and the baby, that's fine. If not, I totally understand.
Now, this wasn't her first time coming to the paternity court. She had been here before. Guess what? The initial reason that brought her here is the same damn reason that she's here again. Some people don't just learn. I hope you guys are ready. It's gonna be one traumatizing show.
You appeared in our courtroom previously and tested 2 men as potential fathers of your 1-month-old son, Malcolm.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, neither turned out to be his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, today, you believe Malcolm's biological father is a good friend of your mother's, the defendant, Mr. Spence.
Yes, Your Honor.
I hope you guys are ready to hear some of the most shocking things to ever be said. Miss Kavanaugh was no good girl, trust me. She had been quite mischievous. This time around, she didn't just get intimate with any random guy. She got intimate with her mom's friend. She has some serious balls, trust me.
You say there's a chance you could be Malcolm's father. Miss Kavanaugh.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your mother's friend?
Yes, Your Honor. I know how bad it sounds. It is bad. I started calling him up, asking for like rides, to the grocery store, to get stuff from my house. And subconsciously, I was trying to try to seduce him.
The things Miss Kavanaugh said would make a priest want to go to confession. They were beyond this world, believe me. Mr. Sense, on the other hand, didn't sound convincing when defending himself. I mean, do you just randomly sleep with your friend's daughter? Hell no!
Did you end up being in the position you were sleeping with your really good friend's daughter?
It was like she said, came over a couple of times. She was in inappropriate gear. First time, I shunned it off. Second time, I said, hey, watch yourself. Third time, it's starting to look good.
Listening to everything that pops out of both their mouths was really uncomfortable. But let's proceed, shall we? I mean, there was 1-month-old kid involved. These two really do need some counseling.
How many times were you intimate with her?
Once.
Just once?
Just once.
Just one time, Miss Kavanaugh?
Your Honor, I do not believe it to be once. It was at least twice, but that's just how I remember it.
And now, we have Malcolm, 1 month old, and your mother's friend could be his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Moving on! When Miss Kavanaugh found out she was pregnant, Mr. Spence's name did not pop up in her head as the potential father. Damn! Apparently she wasn't just fooling around with him. I would definitely give her an ass whooping if she were my child.
I thought Mr. Bowles was the dad. Well, after the court, I started thinking, well, he could be a possibility that Mr. Spence is the father. And I texted him and I asked him, when was the last time we had sex? He told me it was the end of October.
And when was Malcolm born?
He was born July 9th.
Miss Kavanaugh's mom took the stand, and oh boy, did she have a lot to say about her daughter and her so-called friend. She said she noticed the eye contact they gave each other when they met. Deep down in her heart, she knew something was gonna go down.
How did it feel to learn that your daughter was sleeping with your very good friend?
It was very devastating, just because the relationship was inappropriate. I felt betrayed. Actually, when we were together, like all in the same room, I noticed them looking at each other a little differently.
You did?
Yeah, I knew my gut.
The woman's intuition.
Exactly.
The courtroom was filled with nothing short of shock. The most insane revelations start to surface, and these two had a lot of explaining to do. Another epic blockbuster takes the stage. Mr. Spencer happens to be married. I knew this guy had some secrets. He was willing to be the father, but he sure had doubts.
Well, Mr. Spence, let me ask you this. Are you in a relationship?
I'm married.
Okay. Now I do understand why you're hoping he's not your child.
That's not what I'm hoping.
What are you hoping?
I hope for the truth. If he is my son, like I told her, I'm gonna be there.
Why exactly do you have doubts?
My doubt is, first of all, it was only once.
Well, the suspense is finally over and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Spence and Miss Kavanaugh. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
Mr. Scott, you are not his father. Are you ready for the next result? You okay?
Hey, I'm just nervous.
Mr. Spence, you are not his father.
It's okay.
Miss Kavanaugh, we back here again. I know this isn't where you wanted to be.
It's okay.
We have a second timer here. Mr. Scott was previously questioning another woman, and now he had another one. However, Ms. Kalon appeared chill and had a tale of vanishing acts and online romance. Get ready for a paternity bombshell that'll leave you questioning if this is real life or just another episode of Who's Your Daddy?
Mr. Scott, denying you fathered the defendant, Miss Kalon's 4-month-old daughter, Ezra, in today's paternity results will clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, in the world of digital romance, their love story blossomed like a bad Tinder date. They met online, chatted for 3 weeks to a month. Who's counting, right? And things got super cozy. But beware, this isn't your typical lovey-dovey narrative. Nope, it's a saga of suspicious phone snooping and trust issues that could make even Romeo and Juliet cringe.
Had a date?
Yeah, well, you know, the reason why I went through your phone, is because her phone.
He had no reason to go through my phone.
Her phone didn't ring all day, so I got suspicious.
So you felt like since her phone didn't ring,
Yeah, something was
something was up. Maybe she had it on silent
Something was
or...
fishy.
As Miss Kalon spills the tea, she unveils Mr. Scott's sudden disappearance, suspecting another woman in the shadows. Scott's accusations lead to doubts, and the court becomes a stage for hurt feelings, trust issues, and a dash of online espionage. The drama unfolds as they question the foundation of their relationship.
You weren't in a committed relationship, right?
Yeah.
No, not at that time. No, at the time of upon of her arrival.
No, see, that's why he's stuttering, because he lies.
No.
Who am I married to?
Upon
Who am I
her
committed to?
arrival, we was together.
Oh boy, baby daddy seemed to be ready to give all the facts and more, but the plot thickens when mommy reveals him to be a big fat liar. It's an insane tale of revelations, motel mysteries, and intimate details all leading to the pregnancy.
You're saying, Miss Kalon, that you got pregnant the very first time you visited him.
Yes.
The very first time?
Very first
She's
time.
saying
We
she
had
got
sex
pregnant
a good
the
5
first
times,
time she
though.
came to visit.
Obviously,
For real, I mean, don't get it twisted. We had sex a good 5 times that night.
Things were heating up, and they were about to heat some more. It seems these guys had issues with each other for not picking up the phone when the other called. Oh, this seems like a messy web, and we all are left wondering, who's fooling whom?
That's what it was.
He
If I call you at 12 o'clock at night,
himself.
if I call you at 12 o'clock at night, not once, not twice, not 3, not 4, and you don't answer the phone, something's wrong.
sleeping.
And then call. And
Stay awake all night.
you can't call me the next. You cannot call me the next day at 11:30 and say I was sleeping.
The plaintiff, the self-proclaimed smart man, delves into the evidence he found in the mommy's phone. By the looks of it, a few questionable pictures were enough for him to doubt the woman big time.
Mr. Scott,
man,
you
you don't do that.
submitted this evidence to the court.
Yeah.
You were
These
supposed
are
to be
the
my
pictures.
man. I was sending you something to keep you
I never
happy being
received that
along with
picture.
this relationship.
You
Are
didn't
you
get that
serious?
picture.
I never received that picture.
That's one of the first pictures I sent you. I don't
takes
take pictures
pictures
like
in
that, Your Honor.
lingerie?
Come on now.
Moving on, mommy claimed to have never been in love with the guy. However, it appears these guys did share a few mutual qualities that ended up attracting them. Though, safe to say, it was a rocky relationship with doubts about commitment. Oh, they both did not trust one another.
I would come down and see him almost every weekend. How is that not feeling you or
True.
be
But
into
at
our
the same
relationship?
time, there was other dudes
You
talking
would
about,
hide me.
I'm going to
Every
Lancaster
time I
to
went
visit
down
my
there, I
friend.
never met nobody.
And he says, oh, I can't wait to see you when you come back. Oh, I miss you too. Why? I'm not your friend. If I'm your dude, I'm your man.
Well, Mr. Scott seemed to be thrilled by the news first. Or so the baby mama says. Dreams of a happy family were shared and everything. However, it all went down the drain when the baby came into the world.
Did you want to be a family with him?
I mean, it was what it was. I wasn't sure if that's what I
What
wanted.
was
He
it?
wanted me to move to
Wait, you said it was what it was. What
I
was
mean,
it?
I just met him not long before that.
said,
You know,
I'm
I
up
was
in the moon
kind
on
of like
Sacramento,
blurry
man.
about it
That
myself.
weird
You know,
city.
who does that? Who gets pregnant the first time they go see somebody?
All hell breaks loose then. Next up, Ms. Kalin was countersuing the plaintiff for childcare expenses and loan payments as well. Yep, the guy was in debt, though he didn't believe that himself. He was quick to shut that down.
Money she sent you, was it a loan?
No, it wasn't no loan. Why did I get a loan from her? I mean, I worked.
You
at the
act
time.
like I'm speaking blasphemy. I just asked, was it a loan?
Yeah.
No, it was not a loan. Not at
Okay,
all.
what was it?
I said I needed it, and she
Yeah,
gave it to me
what
every
was
other
me taking
day.
care of somebody that obviously couldn't take care of herself?
The courtroom was buzzing with anticipation, and these guys seemed to be only good at one thing, bickering with each other. The judge, sensing potential future drama, wrapped up the case and went straight for the results.
Mr. Scott, you are not the father.
I could be woman enough to apologize and keep it moving.
Whew.